Okay, madam. Live started.
Right, sir?
Madam,
Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
introduce yourself. Okay.
Yeah. Very good morning to you all. Especially, I must thank from the bottom of my heart the DO sir of Khammam and Suryapet district for making it possible all the online classes today, and all the technical team who is supporting behind the screen. I really thank you so much, sir. And I'm eagerly waiting for this opportunity to meet you all, my dear students, through this YouTube channel. Now, I am Rama Devi, working as School Assistant English, JPHS Ramapuram, Melacheru Mandal, Suryapet district. Now, let me share my screen to go without any delay. Yes, children, I have finished my introduction. Okay, I'll ask your introduction later. Now, let me specify the objectives of today's lesson. Children, I think you have remembered the storied house part 1 you have finished, right? Today I'm going to deal with the storied house part 2. Let me specify the objectives. You will be able to understand the Dalit literature movement and its significance. After completing this lesson, you're going to do all these things and you will be equipped with all these things. You'll be able to listen to the new words and pronounce them and understand the context of the lesson and answer the questions. You will be definitely able to read and comprehend the text and write a story even on your own. And you can construct and perform both orally and in written manner a conversation, which is very important. And you're going to bag 10 out of 10 marks in your final exams. And you will be able to do the grammatical items which are given after the lesson. Okay, children, have you recognized him? Have you seen him anywhere? Yes, he is none other than the author of today's lesson, that is short story, The Storied House. Okay, let me specify some things about this writer. Why do you want to know all these things? You know, children, not they may not important for this lesson to answer in your examination, but it's very important to know about the author. To know the literature is very important, and it's the beauty and what the background of the writer. According to that, the lesson is made. If you remember these things about the writer or author, you can remember the lesson for a longer period. That is one benefit. And another benefit is you're going to imbibe it throughout your life. Wherever it is needed, you can do that. You can write that. You can answer that. So for that, I'm going to add some information about the writer. Who is the writer? As you've seen, Vaman Govind Hoval is the writer, and he is a Marathi writer. He belongs to Maharashtra, and especially he focuses on the issues like caste, race-based society in India. You know, children, the cultural identity of Dalits is mainly focused in this short story. The struggle, discrimination of the third world countries is depicted in a very beautiful way. What are third world countries? Yeah, countries which are still developing. Even after the independence, they are still developing, not fully developed. In these countries, there are so many social evils. See, this is also one among them, unfortunately. And modern Marathi Dalit lives in rural areas. He focused a lot on that. And here, if we come to this lesson, the storied house, who is the hero? Yes, Bayaji. He wants to provide just a better life for his family, but he was very much exploited, threatened, warned, and all those things by the upper caste people. The desire is not merely building a respectable house or a luxurious house, but to live a peaceful life. That also became very much impossible for him. Okay, now, children, now let me add some more things about the writer. He focuses on the social consciousness against the conventional exploitation and dominance. You may not be able to understand all these terms because it may look somewhat unfamiliar to you, but these are very important to know about the writer first. Okay, the suppression, humiliation endured by the downtrodden society is mainly focused. Maharashtra is mainly the hub of Dalit writings. You know why? Yes, children, the famous religious leaders, political religious leaders, the great personalities, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Jyotiba Phule, they are hailed from Maharashtra. So their influence is there on these writers, especially on the Dalit literature. Alienation, quest for identity. They are struggling just for identity. We are also human, please treat us as human beings equally with you. So that is what their quest and their urge, even till now, even in this after modern, this modern era. Of course, in pre-modern era, there were so many struggles, but now also, even now, we can see such sort of incidents in Maharashtra. Okay, children, let's recap the story of the storied house 1. Have you remembered these things? Now let me know your comprehension. Let me comprehend your comprehension. Let me ask you some questions, children. Who is the protagonist of our story? How old is he? Protagonist.
Madam, raise your voice.
Protagonist. Who is the protagonist? Yes, nothing but a hero. Who is the hero of this lesson? Yes, he is Bayaji. How old is he? Yes, he is 60-year-old. After retirement, he came to his village. Why did Bayaji come to his village? Yes, as he retired from his job. I know, children, you're also answering equally with me, but I'm unable to listen to you. But you can write in your chat box or write in your notebooks after writing down these questions, and you can show to your teachers and get corrected with them. Okay. What was the wish of Bayaji? Yes, the main plot, the main theme of this story is to build a storied house is his main wish. And now, why did he want to build such a house? Storied house he wanted to build, right, children? Have you remembered as the title suggests? Okay, why? What is the storied house first? I hope you have remembered that one. Yeah, storied house is a house which is built on one another, ground floor, first floor, and second floor in such a way. Okay, multi-storied house, we can say that one. Why did Bayaji want to build such a storied house? Yes, children, you're exactly right. Yeah, he had a big family, first of all, and he wanted to present them a comfortable house, not gifting some individual gifts to his family members. He wanted to build a comfortable house which lasts for a longer period and which can be very much useful for them. You know, children, by this thinking, you can understand how studious Bayaji was. Okay, so, and did he succeed in fulfilling his wish? Of course, we have to see, we are going to see all those things now. Okay, let's move on to see what happened there in that lesson. Okay, children, now the Bayaji already entered into his village and he went to his home. In between, he had to meet some person. Who is that? Yes, he is Kundiba Patil and he belongs to an upper caste and he is the village head. You know, from that moment itself, the destiny start working in another way against the wish of Bayaji, right? He warned him, how did you treat me? How did you wish me? How dare you to wish me like this? Good morning, sir. Oh, what do you think of me? So, like that, the oppression, the suppression began right from the moment when he entered the village. And the news, he wanted to build a storied house. You know, the news itself spread like a cry from the rooftops. You know, children, what is a cry from the rooftops? Yes, it is a widely spread news. The news which can spread very easily and so fast. These are rumors, we call them. Rumors and gossips travel very fast. In that way, this news also traveled very fast. You know the reason why. Until then, there was only one storied house in that village, and that too belongs to Kondiba Patil, who is the head of the village. Now, children, here you can see some two houses, right? One is the normal house and another one is the storied house. Multi-stories are there in that. So he wanted to build such type of, I mean, storied house like you see in the right of your picture. Now, there came a rival storied house now. Rival means enemy, enemy house is coming now. Then what's the problem to them? He is building his own house with his own money. He is not at all asking any money from anyone. But that is the simple thing behind coming this all Dalit literature, Dalit identity, crisis for identity. Even though he has his money, it's very difficult for him to build a new house against the will of all the villagers, village heads especially. Now, there's some untouchable people. Untouchable already sir covered, isn't it? In the storied house part one, already sir covered. What is untouchable? The term untouchable belongs to the Dalit or lower caste community. Okay, now all others felt untouchable, so forgetting their position, and everything is going wrong, like that someone else. But some people, they are very sad children. Why? They are the supporters of Bayaji. They were supporting him silently. Oh my goodness, after these many days, our Dalit people are able to build such house, such luxurious house, venturing some things like that. So they are very, very happy children. So what happened later? Okay, now the construction already started. You see, children, that is the house of Bayaji. What things happened when the construction started? Okay, construction started. Baiji chose one contractor. He is Dataram Walder, and Kondiba was very much eager to know what's going on with Bayaji. What's he doing? Because already the news spread like a wildfire, like a fire in the forest, isn't it? Okay, that is one more expression. Very nice to add some beauty to your language, children. Now, Kondiba, after listening to this news, he was very much excited to go and see what's going on there. He visited the site of the building where construction is going on. And Bayaji, on the other hand, see children, like he looks in the picture, he was very strong and sturdy and very much intelligent person. But now, in front of the people who are belong to that upper caste and a village head, he was very much humble. Now, Bayaji became very humble and saying, acknowledged the fact that he was to be able to build all these things with just your blessings, sir. I'm not doing anything against your will. Just your blessings are there so that I'm able to build. So, like that, he already told. But Kondiba, on the other hand, on the contrary, he was very much furious, sizzling with some anger and jealous. With all these things, he warned Bayaji not to lose your head and to stay and level with his equals. Okay, don't aspire to build a new house, a new storied house, and don't want to live like this equally with all other people who belong to some upper caste and village heads. Others felt that poor man should try to remain poor and never try to get an equal status with big hats like Kundima. Why is this poor Bayaji, poor creature, going to do all these things like that without living peacefully after his retirement? Why is he doing so like that? They all started feeling. Now, all the construction was completed. Bayaji warned him not to build a storied house, isn't it, children? But what happened? How could biology build such a very great house? See, are you able to see that one on the screen? Yes, that is really beautiful. This fantastic house, how could he build? You know, children, on the day when biology warned him, Kondipa Patil warned this biology, immediately he thought of something, and all the day, all the night, he spent a restless night and thought and thought and thought. As biology is very intelligent and meek person and austere, so he thought of one thing. Okay, I must listen to the words of the village heads. I'm going to build a storied house, but it doesn't look from outside like a storied house. It would be looking like a normal house, but if at all anyone comes inside and sees, then it will be a storied house only. So, to avoid all those jealous anger and all, he wanted to build a storied house with a concealed steps, you know? Yeah, that is how it's going on, children. Now, a housewarming ceremony came. Anyway, he built it very well. You know, children, after building a house in such a beautiful way, anyone wants to invite some people and to get some appreciation from them, isn't it? And especially close relatives. He wants to show that one. If you buy any new thing, what will you do? Yeah, immediately you want to show it to your friends because to get some appreciation. So, in the same way, Bayaji also invited many guests and some of the village heads for Pan Supari. You know, children, what is Pan Supari? Yes, Pan is nothing but our betel leaves and betel nuts. For the people who belong to upper caste and village heads, they must not be invited for lunch or dinner, only for Pan Supari. That is what the thing. If he invites for dinner or lunch, it will be a very big sin and very big crime in those days. So he invited the village heads for Pan Supari to accept some Pan Supari. Now, his sons, on the other hand, they worked very hard to decorate the pandal with Petermox lights. What is a pandal, children? Yes, you are going to see that in our next slides. Pandal and Petermox light. Pandal is nothing but a tent-like structure. It's a temporary structure to represent that there's a function going on. Okay, in our house, usually we see it's a common phenomenon, right? Now, Payaji's sons also decorated with the pandal, with Paternox light, and there was no electricity in those days, might be. So, all the Paternox lights were hung. It was very beautiful. And Bayaji also invited well-known devotional singers. You can see, children, here, well-known devotional singers. What do you mean by devotion? Yeah, songs about God and goddesses in praising of the Lord. Okay, as it's an auspicious occasion, he invited all these people. You know, nowadays, if you have any function in your house, or if rich people are celebrating any functions, what do? They invite cinema people or even TV show people also for entertainment to add beauty to their function. Okay, to showcase, sometimes to showcase their richness and all. But here, Baiji invited these traditional singers and musicians to entertain them and to bring some good vibes into the new house. Okay, now, children, this is how the house looks finally. How is it? Do you like that one? Yes, it's very beautiful, cool, and very calm also. It's very peaceful and pious. The house looked very elegant and colorful. Elegant is nothing but looking very great. It was very hard and bitter for the village heads to digest this. See, children, if one is growing so fast economically, both and financially or in a family wise, then people who are sizzling with anger and jealous, neighbors, some neighbors also will be like that. They are really, really angry with this biology. And it was very hard to digest this, stomach this. Baijiu has invited the elders for the home tour. Okay, if he could not invite those people, the elders of the village, that also makes them angry. So Bayaji, without now, can't do anything, and he invited all the village heads. Then, children, here I want to stop or gist of the lesson, because you're going to learn some things now, some glossary and the reading part we have to finish. Later on I will give you some meanings to this. Up to here what we have finished is the gist of the lesson, gist of the storied house part 2. Now on the day, first assignment for you is you have already learned how to write a diary entry. Isn't it, children? In the earlier episode, I observed Sir gave you so many tips to write a diary. Now, children, it's your time to write a diary about the feelings of Bayaji on the day when he received some warning from Kondiba Patil. And then he altered the plan of the house, isn't it? After receiving that warnings from Kondiba Patil, the village head, Bayaji stopped building the storied house, and he altered that into something, isn't it? A small, it looks from outside a small general, a normal house, but if you go inside it would be like a storied house, isn't it? So on that day he might have undergone some struggle, isn't it? So you write all those things. If you are Bayaji, imagine that you are Bayaji and write a diary entry, children, about that. You know how to write a diary entry. Already tips are there with you. Day, date, and the time you have to mention, and the things which have gone past. Kondiva Patil warned me in this way, and what I have to do. Oh my God, is it a sin to born into a Dalit family like that? Some suppression you can write, and later on your decision, your final decision, you how you have altered the plan to build a normal conventional house. So all those things you can write. Just 4 to 5 lines are enough. Children, if you make it a habit, it will be very easy for you to write a diary entry. Okay, no one is expertise in the other language. English is not our own language, right? But it's very important to survive anywhere. So you have to practice it. Unless you practice it daily, you cannot come up in life. So children, start writing, make it a habit writing a diary entry. Now let's move on to the reading part of the lesson. Children, in another session I'll be seeing all your diaries, don't forget. Okay, don't skip writing diary. At least 4 to 5 lines, maintaining all those conventional parts like writing the date, day, and time. Okay, writing all those things you practice. I will be saying. Okay, now let's read this. And the news that Baiji was building a storied house spread like a cry from the rooftops. There was only one storied house in the village, and that belonged to Kundiva Patil. That Baiji, an untouchable creature, should think of a rival storied house was too much for Kundiva to bear. Others also murmured that the untouchables were forgetting their position. Okay, children, here use a low or soft, indistinct voice so that we cannot. I think Indian is net. Okay, children. Work on the foundation had started on the day. Are you able to see? Okay. Dataram Wajir was given the contract of construction. The foundation trenches were filled with mud, bits of stone, and other fillings. Work progressed with speed. One day, Bayaji saw Kundiba coming towards him and greeted him. It's with your blessings that I have ventured on this storied house. Baiju, you should not lose your head simply because you have set aside some money. Do you aspire to an equal status with by building this house? The poor should remain content with their cottage. Understand? Kondiba remember. Kondiba remarked rather sharply. You know what is sharp? It's very poignant and warning with a very harsh voice. Okay, children, remember all these meanings. When you start reading, it will be very useful to you. Sharply, a dialogue delivered in a very stern or harsh tone. Now, let's move on to the next part. Okay, here I supplied some dialogues to you, children. No, Patil, please don't misunderstand me. Bayaji was a little dizzy with nervousness. You know, he became very dizzy. What do you mean by dizzy? Yes, children, whenever you feel it's very hard to bear and a whole world is moving around you, that sort of situation is called dizzy. When you prepared very hard for your exam, when you entered into the classroom, exam room with so much happiness and excitement, and after seeing that paper, no question was there for you, which from which you have prepared. Then how do you feel? Yes, that is dizzy. The whole world is swarming around you. Then Bayaji was in that position. Then this Kondiva pattern. How do you say that? One should keep to one position. You shouldn't let a little money turn your head, what will say. So, children, if you build such dialogues in this conversation box, it will be very funny and interesting too. Okay, try to write dialogues, supply some more dialogues. Okay, children. Okay, what is the other sentence he said? I only wish to build a shelter for my family. Then I shall be free to breathe my last, Baj answered. See, breathing my last. What is breathing last? Before I'm going to die, I want to provide something, a very good shelter to my family. That is what my only wish, sir, nothing else. Who says you shouldn't have a house? You can have a small house with three convenient portions, a veranda at the front and at the back, and the living section in the middle. Why spend unnecessarily on a storied house? That he gave his counseling. You know, counseling? Yeah, trying to change one's mind. That is counseling. So he counseled like that. No, but Bayaji faltered. You know what is faltering? Just now I have done, right? Faltering means saying other words, thinking other one word and saying another word and fearing to flow the words. Okay, now, children, you may go on for this. If you practice in this way, it is very useful for you to construct a conversation both orally and in a written manner. It's very useful for you. Just start it with simple dialogues, no problem at all. Okay. Other ruffians in the village, they attend the Bayaji in a similar manner. Out of fear, Bayaji had to abandon plans for storied house. The conventional three-portion house was taken up. Anyway, he dropped his plans. Okay. Out of fear, Bayaji had to abandon plans for the storied house. The conventional three portions house was taken up. Okay, work was resumed and the walls rose rapidly. The middle portion was a little elevated and a small first story fixed up there with a wooden flooring. This part could be reached by stairs rising from the kitchen. No one could guess from outside that there was a first story to the house. And Bayaji had to make the best of things. You know, I already said he's very intellectual, very calm, composed, and very happy person. He thinks pleasantly in a pleasant way, right? So that he just altered his plan. He didn't totally drop his plan. That is the positivity. That is called optimism, my dear children. Now, the house was complete and the traditional housewarming ceremony was planned. Invitations were sent to relatives in different villages. The village elders, by convention, could not be invited to a meal or refreshments, so they were invited to the ceremonial Pan's party. Bayaji Abbayaji put up a fine pandal in front of the house. His sons worked hard for 2 full days on the decorations. Relatives started arriving. Well-known devotional singers like Kade Ganokar Bua and Parsu Bua and Kalekar Bapu Master, Jijabua and Vithoba of Radgon came with their troops. In the evening, four Petromox lights were hung in the pandal, and it was really looking beautiful and elegant. See, children, have you seen here the Petromox light? Yeah, that is. Now, children, I'm going to explain some vocabulary, some glossary to you, which can add you will be equipped with such sort of knowledge to read it very easily and understand it while you start reading. Okay, murmur, to speak slowly, to complain on a very low voice. Okay, if I murmur, can you understand? Can you understand what I'm speaking? Yeah, this is called murmuring. Okay, I could not hear the words as teacher just murmur, right? You may say like this. Now, trenches. What are trenches? A long, narrow ditch or hole dug in the ground. You know, children, when construction is started, what comes first? Or the walls? No, no, not at all walls, but they dig some deeper to build some trenches first. Digging that one, the act of digging those is called trenches. Punadi, we call it in Telugu. Those for that foundation trenches, some sort of holes are dug in the ground. Okay, sharply. Yeah, we already have come across this one. A dialogue delivered in a very stern or harsh tone. Okay, for example, she rejected the high job very sharply. Okay, now when the hero says something to the heroine, what will the heroine do? She rejected very sharply. Okay, now dizzy, feeling unbalanced and giddy. I have already told you, children, when you listen to very shocking news, how do you feel? You feel dizzy, as if no one is there around you and the whole world is moving around you. So that feeling is called dizzy. Okay, Sheila felt very dizzy and knowing that she was cheated by some people. That was all cheat. When she recognized that thing, he felt very dizzy and nervousness. Nervousness already you feel, children, whenever you go into the examination hall, you feel very nervous. After seeing the paper, if you know all the questions or at least 50% of the questions, then you will be free and pleasant, isn't it? So nervousness is some sort of hesitation or alarm state. I was very nervous before the exam. Yeah. Shelter, a temporary protection for staying. Not a big deal, not with a very permanent construction, but it's a temporary protection for staying. That is called a shelter. As Bayaji told to Kantipa Patil, I'm just building a shelter. I want to give a shelter, not building a very big house. So that is shelter. He is very humble, so that he said, even though he's building a storied house, he said that it is small shelter. The government provided a shelter to the homeless. You know, children, when calamities happen, what will the government do? It provides some shelter, a temporary shelter to the homeless people. Okay. Now, children, here is your time. Before I signing off, I want to assign you something. That is, one is the diary entry. Already you have very well aware of that one, diary entry with using those tips. Okay, you write what happened first, and then what is your decision? What do you want to do finally? And some future proposals. What are you going to do? Okay, after doing that, after completing that work, I assigned you one more thing. Have you remembered, children? Yes, you have to fill those dialogue box. That means you're writing one conversation. Are you all interested to write a conversation, children? Yes, it's very easy, as simple as you just drop off your hat or blink an eye, isn't it? So, all these are expressions to express one simple thing. Okay, now by the end of this session, as I promised you, you learned how to write a diary entry and conversation, building a conversation both orally and a written way. And you learned so many words. Glossary is given with examples, and you have known all the Dalit literature and its significance, who are there behind it, whose impact is there on the writers who belong to Maharashtra, and all the things, children. So, whenever you are writing any essay or answering any questions, it's very important to put in your mind that the literature part you have to remember. Then its beauty will be elegant. See, children, when the storied house, if you read it alone and if you know things alone, you may forget it after some time. But if you know, including with the literature and the author and his whereabouts, it will be a long lasting memory to you, children. Okay, if you are able to accept with me, here is a challenge for you. Yes, children, speaking practice. Are you all interested to speak in English? Yes. If so, if you come with me, if you go with me, along with me, I'm here to share some tips to you in our next session. Are you all ready? Are you all interested? First, let me know, because if you are not interested, it's very next to impossible, children. I'm here. I'm sure if you want to speak English fluently, okay, like me, can I say so? Yes, I'm also not a native speaker of English, but now I'm able to speak English flawlessly and with a current of flow. Now, what to do all these things, my dear children? Yes, it's nothing but practice. If you want to ride a cycle or drive a car, what to do? Simply keeping that in your shed. Does that, with that, can you learn? No. You have to take it out and then start riding it. First, in trials, you have to go to a ground and then trial. Later, you have to go into the real stream of the road. Then you can learn each and everything. Okay, without effort, no one can learn anything. Believe me, children. So, by this, I want to conclude this first session of the Storied House Part 2, hoping that you will be able to do all the things that are given as your assignment. Okay, children?
ఓకే ఓకే మేడం పైన
Right, sir.
మీరు హోస్ట్ ఉన్నారు మీకే అక్కడ కంప్యూటర్ స్క్రీన్ మీద లైవ్ ఉన్నది చూడండి లైవ్ మీద క్లిక్
Okay.
చేయండి
And I really thank very much, sir. Yeah. I thank you so
Okay.
much for guiding me like this.
First we have to
Yeah,
cut the live.
live